Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to make a quick video just talking about the new hot location that's come out and some tips and tricks you can use to get an advantage here. So, we do have the hot location Onslaught Citadel. Description ongoing effects here are doubled, so that's a pretty standard uh, ability and definitely one that can be abused. So, this is definitely a location if you ignore, if you don't pay attention, you're gonna completely lose most of your game. So this is not ignorable. You have to be aware that this hot location is happening, is in the game, and you have to just be the one to take a better advantage of it than your opponent. It's kind of interesting. The tips. Give a massive boost in Iron Man. It's really just not relevant in a lot of these games that you're going to be playing. And I didn't actually know they put a ton of tips like take control to reap the rewards. Didn't actually notice that until I really went to the game today and really saw that there. But going straight into it, I have a couple of cards that I want to focus on when you are designing your deck. So I don't really think it makes too much sense to give like deck builds in locations like this because the location can work with so many compositions, and it's really up to you like how you can incorporate some of the cards into your own gameplay. So it doesn't really make sense like, oh, just play this one deck. People can just basically run a countered list. There's not really anything that's going to always win, but there are a lot of things you can think about and I want you to be thinking about while we're going through the game. So definitely I want to start off with Quinjet, but essentially cost reducing cards. I think these are going to be very strong. You play this on one. Your Sentinels are now free. Your Moon Girl is crazy good, right? Things like this can be very strong and surprisingly abusable if you can just get this on one. It can be a very, very powerful play that sometimes your opponent might not be respecting how good it can be with Onslaught Citadel. So that's just something you want to think about if you can incorporate this into your deck or build a deck around having this on one. So that's definitely something to think about when you're making that play. Same thing with Sarah, right? I would say Sarah is a little bit harder because it comes down on turn 5 a lot of times unless you ramp it up. So this one you can play on one and start abusing almost immediately. And then same type of abuse, right? We have to talk about Zabu. I can't really believe they're giving a location that just absolutely buffs Zabu up, right? But to be fair, this location was planned before, way in advance before you really knew how broken Zabu was. But yeah, if you weren't seeing Zabu before, haha, get ready for non-stop Zabu action basically, and it's definitely gonna be extremely broken. Like it's not even gonna be realistic how your chances against a player that plays Zabu on three. So yeah, definitely be aware of that. Be careful. Make sure you have countermeasures if you're not going to be doing this strategy yourself. So yeah, Zabu is going to be really good. Zabu is going to be really strong. You have to make sure that you have something to deal with Zabu coming down Onslaught Citadel. So next kind of batch of cards I want to talk about is the I don't care about the location batch, and this is like a standard for me. I run this in my list, right? Scarlet Witch and Storm, and I guess Rhino as well. But yeah, these cards just like say, oh, is Onslaught Citadel the hot location? Where is it? I don't see it, right? You just turn it around. Same thing with Storm. You change it up, right? So that can really screw people who's fully invested in that type of gameplay. So it's definitely a powerful tool that you can have your decks, and it's a tool that lets you basically let you play your same deck without really caring about what the hot location or is or anything because you just ignore it completely and change it into something else. So definitely Storm, definitely Scarlet Witch are two very relevant ways to just ignore the hot location completely and just say, you know what, I don't actually care about the hot location at all. Uh, Next thing I want to talk about is just like really good ongoing synergies, right? That's the next like tier of cards. So just cards that do really, really well if you play this in the ongoing synergy. Cerebro is one of them. Patriot is another one. Wong is another one. Onslaught is another card, right? Like if you just go to ongoing, there's so many cards that just pop off. Blue Marvel is another one, right? Dark Hawk, Dino, Ronin, Kek W. This one's not, let's not ignore that. Claw, right? So cards that just are generically good onslaught cards are going to get double the value, and that's going to be very, very strong, very, very abusable. So if you have that safe location, that's a safe position to play those cards. That's definitely one you can just incorporate in very easily. So definitely something you want to be thinking about. And then the next thing I want to talk about, it's not in here in this like list of 12, but something is super important is the anti-counter. So I haven't talked about the anti-counter, what you want to do to deal with people who are abusing Onslaught Citadel, but I want to talk about if you are wanting to play an ongoing strategy, a card you probably really should consider hard that you want to add in is Cosmo. You probably want to have Cosmo right now because people are going to be dealing with, like, they're going to have a plan for your ongoing strategy, right? So people are going to be running Enchantress. People are going to be running Rogue. People are going to be running Scarlet Witch, Storm, all that stuff. And if you don't have a way to deny that ability, such as Cosmo, you're really wasting your time. You're really kind of trolling. So I definitely think Cosmo is going to be a very key card just to make sure that you get to do the things you want to do. You get to have your fun. They don't get to break that game plan in half or whatever. So yeah, definitely want to be considering Cosmo really heavily so that you can protect your Zabus or whatnot. Just so this is gonna be a very, I think, very common card. So things, so just be aware, like, oh, they could have a Zabu, they could not. Um, and then here's another anti-measure opportunity is you run Invisible Woman. So Cosmo's one line. I think Invisible Woman's the other line. So you play Invisible Woman in the Citadel, and so if they try to Rogue, if they try to Enchantress, they're just gonna hit the Invisible Woman, and you get to keep your combo safe. So this is just something, another option, something that can come out a little bit earlier than Cosmo, right? Cosmo you have to play it on 3, and if you want to play Zabu on 3, blah blah blah, it doesn't feel good. So the downside of Invisible Woman compared to Cosmo is you can't use the ongoing effect until the end of the game, right? So let's say you play Invisible Woman on 2, you can't play Zabu into the Invisible Woman because it's not going to reveal until the end of the turn. So Invisible Woman is more for something like Claw, right? You put Claw into the Citadel, right? That's really powerful, really really good play essentially. Something like even a Darkhawk, right? That one can be weird because that means you can't play Mystique in there. So you'd have to do like maybe Mystique and then Darkhawk on a different location, and then end of turn, boom, you'll get your Mystique proc. But something like that, Claw, Mr. Fantastic, obviously, Warpath, Iron Man, right? These cards that just you don't need them immediately, but that payoff at the end of the game can be really important. So Blue Marvel, right? These great options. So Onslaught, blah blah blah. There's a ton of cards. So that's the other defensive mechanic to deal with the people playing Enchantress, to deal with the people playing Rogue. So that's going to be pretty cool. And then some more counter, some more anti-measure. Sandman, right? I think Sandman's actually going to be very good right now because people are going to be playing Zabu into the location on 3, and then you just drop the Sandman. Better yet, you somehow get it early. I don't know if you side locking into Sandman is like kind of troll, but like theoretically, right? You you play the Sandman. They can only play one card. They can't flood the board, especially if they're being um if they're trying to hold their big spike turn until the end of the game, right? Before so that you can't like Shang-Chi them or anything like that. It does make a ton of sense, especially in this location. They're not going to be like, I'm just going to play all my cards, and then if they have Enchantress to hit all my targets, so be it, right? They're going to want to hold their play. So I definitely think Sandman could be a very powerful play, especially if you can get it early. Like if like side locking into a Sandman, I think right now is like not super troll. So definitely think this has some really good potential, really good avenues to work. So you're definitely gonna have to start thinking about how to deal with the meta and how to counter the counters and things like that. And I think cards like that can work really well. And then of course, if you have this series 4 card, you can definitely run Super Scroll. Right? If you can't beat them, steal their effects, right? Like that's what everyone says. So yeah, Super Scroll is gonna be really powerful. I think it's just gonna be a premium tag right now because anything they want to do, you can do as well, right? So you do have to be careful that you're not um, blindly trusting Super Scroll to carry you without having any game plan of yourself. But I do think Super Scroll into Citadel, right? They play a Dark Hawk anyway, you win that location. They play uh, a Claw, right? You steal that. They play an Onslaught, that's yours. You know, like there's so many ways, especially with Zabu, right? For 2 mana or 1 mana if it's on Citadel as well. You just it can just lock down a win for you for free. So I definitely think this is gonna be a really powerful card to run in your decks while this location is in. So you don't have a lot of time to abuse this location. It's only for 24 hours. So I definitely want to get this video out quick. But these are just some thoughts to think about. Ongoings, the ongoing meta, the counter to the counter, things like that, and how to really evolve your gameplay for the next 24 hours. So this is definitely a good opportunity to climb. If you find this really clean deck that works really well, you can really like get that last push for infinite. So I wish you all the best. Hope you guys find a good deck for your gameplay, and I'll see you in the next video.